Hello, everybody. Hello. Happy Sunday. I'm so glad to see all of you on this beautiful Sunday, at least where I am here in New Jersey. And I am delighted that so many people have come back. As you all might remember, those of you who were here yesterday while we were singing together, the Amazons received the news that Tony Barrand had died, and we had a really emotional ride yesterday, and we are going to actually dedicate today's songs to Tony Barrand. We're lucky today to have in the room with us Sally Rogers, an old friend of Tony's, and so I want to welcome everybody to today's Daily Antidote of Song. It is our Traveling and Journeys week, and we've been talking all week about different kinds of traveling and different kinds of journeys, and of course, the journey from one life into the future or whatever you believe is something that we all got to think about and talk about yesterday, and I will do some more of that today. So welcome everybody on Facebook Live. Thanks for joining us here in the Daily Antidote of Song. We are on day 665 today, singing one song at noon Eastern time every day, about a half an hour in the room, singing, connecting. Please join us anytime, always, either on Facebook Live or in this room. You are most welcome. And hello, of course, to everybody in the room. Hello to Sally Rogers. Sally, super glad that you're here today. Can't think of anybody better to go on today's journey with us. And hello to Deborah in Kentucky, and Mabel and Bob in Mass, and a cinnamon bear, or maybe another one hiding. Hello to Annette in California, and Kim in Vancouver, Amy in Atlanta. Hello, I'm not sure if you're new to us today, or maybe you've been here once before. Nice to see you. And hello to CY. Nice to have you with us today. I think also been here once before. Hello to Lynn Levine, and in the car and potentially Cliff driving. Nice to see you. And hello to, I see a Cliff hand. Hi to Brian in Maryland. Great to see you, Brian. Hello to Arlene in California. Hello to Kevin Ennis, who keeps our count for us, coming in from New Hampshire. Hello to Amanda and Miles in Michigan. Julie in Ontario. Hello, Sarah in Texas. Hello, Phil in Totnes, England. Lovely to see you today. Hello to Ruth, maybe also new to us today. I'm not sure. Maybe he has been here once before. And Ruth's left-hand guy over there. Nice to see you. Hi to Susan in Ohio. Hello to Anne in Nashville. Aloysius in Massachusetts. Kathy in Virginia. Hello to Susan in Seattle. Gary in Massachusetts. Luda and Mark coming in from Victoria, BC. Glad to see both of you together. Becky in British Columbia. Hello. And let's see, everything's moving. Caroline in DC, Christiana and Bob in Rockville, hello. And Anne in Maryland, and Carolyn in Boise, hello. Jamie in Victoria, hi Kat in Vermont, and Bonnie also in Boise. And hello to Jim in New York City. Susan and Shirley coming in from the Gettysburg, Pennsylvania area. Glad to see both of you. We've missed you and haven't seen you together in a while. Hello to Ralph and Penny in Victoria. Hello to Deli in Maryland, Nancy's Irish Cow in Washington State. Hello to Carol in Connecticut. Nice to have you back. And Trish in Vancouver, no, Victoria. Hello to Cricket in Maryland, Storm in Massachusetts. Martha, hello. Nice to see you coming in from Oregon. Sandy in North Carolina. Aloysius in Mass. And let's see, Fred in Silver Spring, Maryland. And still more folks coming into the room. And also hello to the folks who are not on camera. Susan and Simke, Louise, Joni, Lisa in Vancouver, and oops, everything's really moving. Hello to Veric, glad you're here with us again. I think it's day 2 for you. Hello to Jane and Ruth, who is traveling, and Jerry, Isabel, Shari, Lisa, and Student Coo just coming in the room. And let's all take a really deep breath. It's lovely to be here. Let's all give a shout out to Carpe Diem Arts for making it possible for us to get into this space and process our thoughts about traveling and journey, and process our grief together about losing Tony Barrand yesterday. That was a very, very powerful moment we had in here. And Sally, I'm really, really grateful that we're going to get to share today with you. Can you go ahead and let us know what you've got for us first?
Well, of course, I made my plans for today before I heard of Tony's passing. He was a dear friend of both myself and Howie. Howie and he were college friends at Cornell, and both were involved in the Cornell Folk Song Society together back in the 60s. And I met Tony in the 70s, probably first at Fox Hollow Festival or something like that. But anyway, I'm going to actually get to sing 2 songs today, and this is the song that I planned on singing today before hearing about Tony's passing. And it's a song that I wrote about travel, about being a musician on the road. I suppose each of us songwriters end up writing a song sometime or another about being on the road. So this is mine. And it goes like this. It's just called Home Again. I'm packing my bags as the dawn meets the day. My husband and daughters still sleeping away. I quietly kiss them goodbye and I say, can't wait till I'm home again. The front and back seats are both empty but full of the memories shared as we've traveled these roads. Today I am driving alone and you know, I wish I were home again, home again, home again. The blinking of fireflies surprising the night skies reminds me of home again. The lace of Queen Anne and chicory blue reflect in the skies that you're gazing at too. And the love you sent with me is honest and true and pulls me back home again. The blacktop rolls on like the back of a beast, and soon I'll be driving it home towards the east, to the arms of my loved ones, the quiet and peace that I find when I'm home again, home again, home again. Blinking of fireflies surprising the night skies reminds me of home again. The festival lights are burning tonight, but my heart is back home where the moon lights the marsh. Me here and you there just doesn't seem right, and I need to be home again. Where'er the wind blows me, north, south, east, or west, home's where my heart is, the place I love best. And soon I'll be resting my head on your breast, soon as I'm home again, home again, home again. The blinking of fireflies surprising the night sky reminds me of home again, home again, home again. The blinking of fireflies surprising the night sky reminds me of home again. Home
Thank
again.
you.
You're welcome.
Beautiful, Sally. Thank you so much.
You're
Home
welcome.
again. So here we are all home again in the daily antidote of song, thinking about, I don't know, we're thinking about traveling and journeys, but we're thinking about change and we're thinking about life and we're thinking about, I don't know, I guess I shouldn't say we. I am certainly thinking about like all of the ways in which the intensity of the past 2 years that we have been in seems like that like griefs and sadnesses and things passings, and there's just been so much of it that like the intensity has escalated and everything feels awfully raw and maybe makes us feel vulnerable, or in some ways even more isolated. We can't even do the things we might normally do when someone passes, get together and be together for the purposes of mourning together and celebrating together. And so I'm feeling super off balance today. Sally, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling happy to be here on a day when we can share some ideas and thoughts about a friend who's passed, and I'm sure that this will bring up things for other people. As you were speaking, I was thinking about the last 2 years. The thing that has been, I think, of most difficult for many people is when we lose someone and we're not able to say goodbye. And I'm happy that Tony's daughter was able to go in the hospital, because for several days that he was in the hospital, no one was allowed in. So, I think that's probably the biggest grief that many people feel. People who've lost loved ones to COVID, which of course was not the situation with Tony, but people who have lost loved ones to COVID and were not able to go and hold their hands, as they left. So that's just, that's very hard, I think, for so many people. And Tony's wife, Margaret Dale, who he loved dearly and who cared for him incredibly well, is also in palliative care and hospice right now. So that's also very sad. We're not losing one, we're losing both. And I thought of Keith Murphy last night. There was the Northern Roots Festival. I don't know how many of you got to see it. Maybe you could show hands if you got to see it. It was just a wonderful program up at the Brattleboro Music Center. And Keith Murphy was in charge, and he lives right across the street from Tony. And it was very difficult for him. And he and Tony made at least one album together, and I think they were in the process of doing a second one. I wanted to name it because if you'd like to remember Tony, I think one of the best albums that he made was called On the Banks of Cold Brook, and it was the Atwood family songs from Vermont, songs I think that Margaret MacArthur had collected, and then Keith Murphy and Tony together made this absolutely wonderful album. It's, when you talk about an album you want to take to a desert island, that would be among my 10, and it would be the first one probably I'd grab for. So, I think of him. I'm going to go right back to it probably later today and work on memorizing a couple of them. There's a great version of, what's the fox?
Renardine.
Renardine, yeah. Great version of Renardine and a couple other just wonderful ones. So I look forward to doing that. My husband, Howie Burson, is here, and he actually has some wonderful stories because he knew John and Tony since 1968, I think, and they were pals at Cornell University, both of them, all of them students. I'm going to just turn my screen a little bit so Howie can join us here. You can slide over.
Sure, I'll slide over.
I mean, he has some really wonderful stories about Tony, and I think maybe this is a good time, and some of them are fairly humorous, which Tony was a man of great humor.
I think I'll only tell one.
Okay.
I don't want to take up too much of your time here. I met them when I was asked to do a very short opening set in the big armory, Barton Hall. It was an anti-war rally, and Joan Baez was coming up from New York to sing, and it was a benefit, I guess, for maybe the Vietnam Mobilization Committee. And so John and Tony were singing there too, and that's the first time I realized that they were there. And we became fast friends. I heard them sing that time, so we each did a very short opening set. Let's see. Let's fast forward 30 years from that, and talk of John and Tony as one unit in terms of performers. So John and Tony were hired, and I was hired at the Solstice Festival outside of Los Angeles. And we found ourselves at a very upscale Greek restaurant outside of LA. And the food was great, and we were having a good time. And then some music suddenly started, and as happens at fancier Greek restaurants, this belly dancer came in to do traditional belly dancing. And she was great, and beautiful to look at and so on. And then she started doing what often happens. She went from table to table, and every once in a while she'd pick out some poor guy, make him come and stand with her in the center of the restaurant. There must have been at least 200 people in the restaurant. It was a pretty big place. And then typically what they'll do is the belly dancer will remove her scarf from her waist and toy with the poor guy and embarrass him, maybe put her scarf behind his neck and move it like so. And then finally, when he's totally red-faced, she lets him go back to his seat. Well, I don't know what John was thinking, but I know what I was thinking. If she comes this way, I'm going under the table. And so what I didn't know is she had just gone to a table full of people who were from the same solstice festival. And they had told her, they said, you see that table over there? You see the guy wearing, whatever Tony was wearing? Well, he's a dancer, so you should pick on him. But we didn't know any of this. So she came over, and she got Tony to stand up with her. And does she do the toying with the scarf? No. She ties the scarf around his middle and steps back. And there's Tony with 200 people staring at him with his scarf tied around his waist. Well, it was Tony, so here's what he did. He marched over to a table with a couple at it. He plucked the rose from the little vase on the table. I told you, it was an upscale restaurant. Puts it between his teeth and does a little, in front of the woman. He steps right in front of the woman and does a little sort of bump and grind like that. And, probably made eyebrows at her too. And what does she do? She reacts well. She put out her hand to her husband, who was next to her, like that. And he took out his wallet and stuck a $5 bill in her hand. She took Tony's belt, pulled it out, and stuffed the $5 right into his crotch. And Tony, he did a little more dancing around before he finally, gave up the scarf and gave it back to the belly dancer. When we left the restaurant, the owner came up to him and said, "You're hired." So that's my Tony story, one of many, many.
Oh, that's so lovely. Thank you so much, Howie. I love that story. I can totally envision it. And actually, where I thought you were going was that you were going to say that, like, she pulled him up and then grabbed him and started doing, like, English country dancing, which could have been really fun.
Amazing.
Yeah, that would have been very strange, right? Yeah, that's a tribute to someone who was so full of love and joy and humor. And I wish we in this room could have gotten to know him better as a community. He sang with us once. We were very lucky. And we had talked, of course, about having him back again. And we didn't get another chance to have him back before he was sick. And we were hoping, of course, for his recovery. And we're very, very much grieving that we don't have a lot of stories like you do. And I hope we'll get to hear some more of your stories at another time, both Sally and Howie, because hopefully there will be a lot of things that will come out now, tributes and things where we'll all get to be a part of virtually, sharing in the community that knew him so well.
I think the most important thing you can do is go listen to his music. Go listen to as much of his music as you can, because boy, I mean, he and John Roberts, along with a couple of other people, were really responsible for bringing the music of the Copper family to the United States, and much other English traditional song and dance for that matter. And Tony was a Morris dancer, and he was just so full of life. And we saw him, it was just a couple of months ago, I guess, that we saw him. It was
spring, maybe.
No, it was fall. It was in the fall.
Whatever you say.
And he was still himself. He still had, although he wasn't energetic, he certainly could carry on a fine conversation. And Margaret Dale was always there, his wife, and she cared for him so well. Can't speak highly enough of her, because it's a big job taking care of somebody who's got MS, and they did it with grace and with lots of help from their neighbors. I mean, good heavens, Scott Ainsley lives right next door, and Scott and Barbara, yeah, and Becky and Keith Murphy, Becky Tracy and Keith Murphy live across the street. So and Andy and Robin Davis live just around the corner. I mean, it's quite a community there. Quite a community.
Yeah.
Of course, the Amadons live right close by too.
Yep.
So yeah, today Howie and I were jokingly saying, well, maybe we should, when we retire, we should move to Brattleboro.
Well, you and a whole bunch of crew, because I happen to know there are an awful lot of other folks, myself included, who maybe don't actually joke about moving to Brattleboro. I mean, it's just such a beautiful community there, musical and otherwise. And it is on my like top 10 lists, or maybe top 2 lists of like where I would love to end up someday. The Amadons mentioned that they had been bringing meals to them. And, just that idea that everybody's there. It takes a village, not just to raise a child, it takes a village to live through old age. And so the notion that everybody comes together, I love that very much. So let's see, I was going to say something. I was going to say, that one of the things I thought was super moving yesterday was hearing from Mary Alice that they were in the same room,
Yes.
Tony and Margaret Dale, and that in the same hospital room. And I thought that was just so moving to spend your whole life with someone and then to leave also with them in that context. Like, it just felt to me like, as sad and hard of an image, it's also the most beautiful image.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I see that we have Kathy B in the room. So I'm just gonna bring her up here. Hi, Kathy B. We're glad you're here. I need to actually give you a little co-hosty kind of thing here so that you're able to unmute yourself. And I'm gonna guess that the two of you know each other quite well, Sally and Kathy, or no?
No.
Kathy, you should be able to unmute.
No, we don't. I'm delighted.
No, how come we don't know each
I
other?
don't know, Sally. I don't know.
It's about time.
About time. Way past time. Oh my gosh.
So where do
know
you
all my
live?
favorite people.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Where do you live?
Well, I live in Kentucky, Berea, Kentucky, but I'll be in Bennington, Vermont from February to May, teaching at Bennington College as a visiting professor. So I'll be about an hour from Brattleboro.
Kathy, we have met once.
Yeah,
But
I thought we have. I just can't
Yeah.
remember where.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I'm wondering if it wasn't in Berea. I went down to Berea to visit, to visit Jean Ritchie, but also to visit, it was when she was living. Were you there when she was still living?
I've been here since 91.
Yeah. So
Yes.
yeah. So and also Arpy.
Liza and Arpy?
Liza and Arpy, yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. I've
So
known
I think we were at some do together, but
I'm
it was
sure.
only once. Yeah.
Okay.
So you guys do have a Pinewoods connection because
Yes.
you've both, I mean, Sally's all over Pinewoods, and Kathy, you've been a few times. I think the Amadons brought you, right? Like,
Yes, they brought me, but years ago to Pinewood. One of my first summer camps was that beautiful place.
Oh yeah, it's a great one.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm delighted to meet you and hear from you. Sorry I wasn't able to get in earlier. Thank you.
Likewise.
So you missed Sally's first song, but we're going to have a second song from Sally that's actually not the same one. And we're dedicating today's entire Daily Antidote to Tony and to Margaret Dale and his family and his friends and his community. But Kathy, I know you're here because we also have some fun, exciting news to be sharing about our upcoming week in which Kathy has been instrumental. So Kathy, can I go ahead and share the screen so you can go ahead and share with everybody who's going to be here this coming week?
Thank you so much for everybody. Listen, we have a really exciting week next week. I've been a part of this special, exciting project where a group of us, starting with Fran Andre and Sean Cruz in England, they have been working really hard on making a difference in the lives of, thinking about Black Lives Matter, thinking about the ways in which Black music has impacted so much of our musical lives, but we haven't often been able to honor those folks who have shared this music that has been so wonderful. And so this project is to commission 8 Black composers to write new works for choirs. And that once they're commissioned, then the choirs would have access to these, and it would be one sort of paying forward to honor these new composers, and also to be thanking and celebrating the whole community in terms of Black culture, music, for all this music that has so informed our lives. And so it's one way of moving forward in a real positive way. We're really excited. So we're going to have some of the movers and shakers of this organization, part of the Natural Voice Network program in organization in England, who are going to be there. They're going to be talking about the project. And there's lots of singing by some of the actual artists themselves. The program is really exciting, so that you can I wanted y'all, my family here, to know about what was going on and about the excitement of this new music that you can get on board with, be a part of, or support the project, and just listen to some good stuff. Thank you, Jo, and Carpe Diem for making it possible.
Thank you, Kathy B. We're so excited about this week. And while you were talking about it and I was looking at the flyer, I realized that, of course, Brendan Taft's choir is one of the ones that's working with you and planning to showcase some of the songs. And of course, where does Brendan Taft live? Of course,
Brattleboro, Vermont.
So there you go. If you needed yet another excuse. So thank you, Kathy B. We can't wait to be hosted by you and your friends and sing with you and your friends all week long next week. So let's all take a deep breath. All right. In honor of Tony Barrand, Sally Rogers, can you give us this beautiful song? Can you tell us just a little bit about how it came about?
This song was written a number of years back. I wrote music for 4 folk operas based on community oral histories of a Mennonite community in Newport News, Virginia. And this was in the late 90s and the early 2000s. And the Yoder family were the movers and shakers that got it all going. Esther Mabel Yoder collected over 100 interviews, I believe, at the time. And from those interviews, I was writing songs, working with playwright Joe Carson, who has since passed away. And a number of years later, Esther Mabel succumbed to cancer, and I was not able to go to the memorial, and I was heartbroken because she was one of those people who completely changed my life. I mean, she put her heart in my heart, and so I wanted to be there, couldn't be there, and this was one of those magical songs that appeared almost whole cloth. And I ended up singing it into my tape recorder, or maybe it wasn't my phone because I didn't have a phone then, into a tape recorder, and I sent it to. I know what I did. I sang it into the phone, and they put it on their tape machine, on the answering machine, and they played it at her memorial. So, and it's been used for a lot of other sad passings, and so we'll sing it now for Tony this time. Let's see, I want to get a pick. Oh, there it is. Okay. A quiet soul has left this earth in peace. In peace he leaves us here in quiet grief. In quiet grief we bid our last goodbye. Goodbye to one whose spirit flies. His spirit flies to seek amazing grace, the grace that's found upon his master's face. We all shall join him in that heavenly place where all shall meet. We all shall meet him when our own time comes, the time when souls all gather making one heart, one soul, one life, one living song. Love has been there all along. A quiet soul has left this earth in peace. In peace he leaves us here in quiet grief. In quiet grief we bid our last goodbye. Goodbye to one whose spirit flies. Thank you. So that was written a long time ago and still unfortunately has its use. But you know, we're all gonna go someday. So nice to have folks like you around to remember and to share thoughts and stories about those who have left us. That's the good part of it.
Sally, thank you so much. That was really beautiful.
Somebody asked, Don Peabody asked if we knew Gene and David Rosenberg. No, we do not. And somebody else, I think it was Ann Moore said, she said, do you have to apply to go move to Brattleboro?
Audition, yeah. Do you have to audition to move to Brattleboro? I love it. I love it. And Phil in Totnes pointed out that Totnes is another really deep musical community. So we'll have to split all of our retired time between Brattleboro and Totnes.
Yeah, that's where Fran, who's coming next week, Fran Andre is in Totnes, and Phil's there. All these other cool people.
It's incredible. I love it.
Kathy, while you're up here, while you're in Bennington, we should get together because that's a lot closer.
Sweet, absolutely.
Absolutely. Oh. You're invited here. We can meet halfway.
Where are you?
I'm in Pomfret, Connecticut, northeastern Connecticut, the corner that's close to Boston.
Gotcha.
So just another one of the many musical friendships formed in the Daily, which I really love. So our Daily Antidote bus tour and our Daily Antidote, I like to say week at Pinewoods, but maybe we better make it a month. And like all of the things that we are going to do at some point post-pandemic to try and get ourselves together in person. I can't wait. And thank you, Sally, and thank you, Kathy. And thank you, Howie, for a beautiful and fun story about Tony. And Sally, do you have anything else you'd like to say before we say goodbye to the good folks on Facebook Live?
Well, I just want to say tomorrow is my day 360 of A Song a Day Keeps the Virus Away on my Facebook page. So come and join us. I haven't been as diligent as Joe has been, but it's at 4 p.m. Every day, Monday through Friday. I take off the weekend, unlike Joe. And you're all invited. I don't know what I'll be singing this week, but maybe I'll memorize some of Tony's songs and sing them this week.
That's so beautiful. So like everybody already knows in here that I have like the world's worst math brain. But like when Sally and I were talking about her day, did you say 365?
360.
360. We were talking about her day 360 and our day 665. And I said we should have like when we're at whatever it is that she's half of, we should have some kind of a celebration at the same time. I'm sure mathematically there is something in there. And I'm pretty sure that 360 and 360 is less than wherever we are now. So we haven't hit it yet. So Yeah. All
I
right.
think we may have already passed it is the problem.
Oh no, really?
Can I jump in real quickly to ask one person ask in the chat where that song can be heard, Sally, the one that you just sang. It's so beautiful.
I recorded it on an album with Claudia Schmidt called Evidence of Happiness, and it's on my website, www.sallyrogers.com. Thank you, Kathy, for sharing that.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Kathy B. Thank you, Sally. And we've got Sally's website in the chat if you want to try and find her songs so that you can join her. There's info on her website about that and all of her good
You just have to
music.
remember my name. If you can remember my name, you can find me.
That's perfect.
sallyrogers.com.
There you go. I love it. And for folks out there on Facebook, your comments might be looking a little empty right now, but that's because I'm running tech and I'm a little slower than all my good tech people. So I'll be posting lots of stuff into the Facebook Live, so you'll see all the same comments there. So thanks, everybody on Facebook. It was really great to see all of you today, to have you with us. I want to shout out Nina, who is out there, and thanks, Nina, for joining us. It's Nina's first time, I think, and we're glad you joined. So again, see you tomorrow. Facebook, please join us for our beautiful Black Lives Matter week here with Kathy Bullock and friends hosting us. We can't wait to see you.